get things started looking down at ace, king, king, 6, single suited in the cutoff. Under the gun opens to 20. There are 2 callers to me. I call and both the blinds call. So we're going 6 ways to a flop. Flop comes 9, 5, 4, all spades. When it checks to me, I bet 50 and we get 1 early position caller. So we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings a 4. My opponent checks to me and I decide to check back. So still going heads up to a river. River brings a 3 of spades. My opponent's counting out some chips and he bets 150 over to me. So I'd only been dealt a couple hands before this one, but I did notice that this player just lost a big pot the hand before, and there's typically a higher likelihood that an opponent is going to bluff the hand after they just lost a big pot. So that was kind of part of my thinking here after I decided to call, and my opponent turns over 9-5 for the flop 2 pair, and we're going to take it down. Here, look down at Queen Jack 10-4, single suited in middle position in a double board bomb pot. The flops come out Queen Jack 9 rainbow and Ace 10-4 rainbow. When action checks to me, I bet 40, folds to the late position player who pushes for 225 total, then it folds back to me. So here I don't really love my hand, but it is going to be pretty unlikely for him to have a hand that beats me on both boards. Obviously one I can think of is Ace King 10. But even if he has that, I do have some equity on both boards, so I decide to call and we're going heads up to 2 runouts. Turns come out a 7 on top and a queen on the bottom. Rivers come out a 3 on top and a 5 on the bottom. My opponent turns over his hand. He has ace, king, queen, jack. So we have the same 2 pair on the top, but he turned the nut straight on the bottom and he's going to take down 3/4 of the pot. Here, look down at ace, ace, king 4, single suited in the small blind. The button straddle is on, so I'm next to act. I believe player tendencies are a pretty big factor in live poker. So for example, earlier when I decided to call with the king high flush, I used the fact that the player who had bet had just lost a big pot the hand before. Similar, this player did the same thing, but also him straddling on the button indicates that he's more willing to mix it up. And players who straddle are much more likely to raise than not, so that's what led me to make the call here. There are 5 other limpers, back to the button straddler who makes it 50, back to me. I believe this is pretty similar to earlier in the vlog when I would under the gun limp with my aces and hoping to 3-bet pretty big. So same thing here, you don't really want to go multi-way with your aces. So being able to make a massive 3-bet is really going to be advantageous. So that's what I do. I make it 180, folds back to the button who makes the call. So we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes 6, 5, 3 rainbow. My opponent only has $65 left, so I just bet enough to put him all in, and he makes the call. So we're going heads up to a run out. Turn brings another 6. River brings a 10. I turn over my hand and my opponent mucks, so we're going to take it down. Here, look down at king, king 9-7, single suited on the button. Folds to the hijack who opens to 15. I make the call and both the blinds call, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes 10, 8, 4 with 2 spades. Checks to the original raiser who bet 60. She only has about 200 total, so I just decided to put her all in. Folds back to her and she makes the call, so we're going heads up to a run out. Turn brings a 6. River brings another 4. I turn over my hand and then she turns over hers. She has ace, queen, 7-5 with the nut flush draw, and we're going to take it down here. King 9-6-3 double suited. This, in my opinion, is a hand that a lot of newer PLO players play, which I believe is a pretty big mistake. You only have 1 suit that's good, and it's not even the nut suit. You have way too many gaps. Now, with all that being said, if that 3 of clubs was, say, a queen, jack, or 10 of clubs, it definitely would be a lot more playable. Still not great, but definitely playable, especially from later positions. So King 9-6-3 double suited is a fold in my opinion. Here, look down at queen, queen, jack, jack, single suited in the small blind in a straddled pot. There are 2 limpers. I make it 20 and we get 4 callers, so we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes king 10-5 with 2 spades. I check and action checks through, so we're still going 5 ways to a turn. Turn brings an ace. I bet 60. Folds to one of the middle position players who only has 20. He calls for that, and another late position player calls for the full amount. So we're going 3 ways to a river. River brings another 5, so obviously didn't really want to see the board pair, but I think I could still get value from some hands like ace king. So I bet 40 and the other position player folds. So I turn over my hand against the all-in player and he mucks his 2 cards but shows ace king of hearts. So we're going to take it down. Shortly after the Queen, Jack, Jack hand, the table broke, and I'm at my third table here. I look down at 7-7, 6-6, double suited in middle position. The button straddle is on. Small blind and big blind make the call. Player to my right makes it 35. I call, and there are 5 other callers, so we're going 7 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace-8-4 rainbow. When action checks to me, I thought about betting for probably about 15-20 seconds, but decided to check back, and action checks through. So we're still going 7 ways to a turn. Turn brings the money card and the 5 of hearts. Early position player bets 60. There are 2 callers to me. I think for a bit and make it 585. Player, a couple to my left, he calls for less, $100 about. And seat 5 actually has me covered. He thinks for a little bit and makes the call. And then player to my left, he calls for less as well. So we're going 4 ways to a river. River brings a pretty awful card in a 4. Obviously not something I wanted to see. The player I'm on the side with thinks for a little bit and checks, and I don't think there's really any point of doing anything besides checking as well. So that's what I do. And I turn over my hand, and the player I'm on the side with, he turns over ace-8-5 and mucks his 4th card. And the other 2 players don't really look too happy about it, and they also muck. So not really sure what they had. One guy I think said he had a flush draw, and who knows about the other player, but we're taking down a massive pot. Here, look down at king, 10-10, single suited on the button. Under the gun makes it 15. There are 5 callers to me. I call, and the big blind calls. So we're going 8 ways to a flop. Flop comes 9-2-2 rainbow. Checks to the original raiser, who puts his remaining 115 in the middle. Folds back to me. Now here, if he had more money, I would definitely fold, but because he's all in for under a pot size bet, and the guy that's remaining left to act, he only has about $100 left. You know, even if I am beat, I obviously do have some backdoor draws. I do have 4 outs to hit a boat. So I make the call, and the big blind makes the call as well. So we're going 3 ways to a run out. The turn brings a 6. River brings another 9. The original raiser turns over his hand. He has ace-ace 9-3. The original raiser actually has a 2, but nothing else, and the original raiser is going to take it down. I know it's double suited and it looks nice, but I mean, when you go multi-way in these pots, really queen high flush draws are not really going to be that great. It's essentially a set mining hand. I mean, you'd prefer that 4 to either be a jack or a 10 to give you more straight possibilities. And here, I mean, if I was closing out the action, I definitely would call, but you know, calling 25 and then maybe another player or 2 calls, gets back to the button, he makes a massive 3-bet to like over $100. I'm not really going to be able to call out of position. So for all those reasons, I fold. Shortly after the king, 10-10 hand, the game took a turn for the worse. I played for about 5 hours and I was getting a bit tired, so I decided to rack up. What's up, guys? Wayne back here with you. So today I was in for 600, out for 2,000, so profit of 1,400. Good to book back-to-back wins. First time I've done that in a little bit. Hoping to finish strong. It's my last full day here, which is tomorrow. So hoping to finish off on a high note after an up and down start. If you guys haven't seen my previous Texas vlog, I'll link it up here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.